Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Oh, I know I missed last Wednesday. Oh, well, I didn't miss. I kept trying to stream live and it kept shutting me down. And finally I gave up. That's what failure is. Failure is not making a mistake or doing something wrong. Failure is when you just stop trying. So I did fail last Wednesday in my live. Oh, yes. Okay. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I am here now though. And few things I wanted to talk to you about today. So I just got my first vaccine. It's right over here. Um we'll see how I feel. I feel okay. My arm, if I press on it, it feels a little sore where the shot was. But anyway, first shot, Pfizer. That's the one I got. Today, I wanted to talk to you about overeating, weight loss, trusting the process, things like that. Um, I stepped on the scale this morning. I step on the scale almost every morning, and I've been at the same weight for about at least 2 weeks and probably a little bit more, 2 or 3 weeks, right? And here's the thing I want to share with you is I always tell my clients the scale is data, not drama. So when I kept stepping on it and it kept being, just right, within ounces, right about the same weight, I didn't make it mean anything about me, or I didn't make that number mean that, oh, I was too fat, or oh my gosh, this isn't working. You can't do anything right. Why can't you just stick to a plan? Why aren't you losing weight? This is taking too long. I didn't make it mean any of that. I just wrote it down. Well, not every day. I don't write it down, but I just noted it. And I said, okay, that's interesting, and I went about my day. Now I write down my food protocol and I still do that. Even though I've been doing this for a long time, I still write down my protocol. Um, and and I stepped on the scale this morning and I was down 3 pounds from the last time my weight shifted. Right. So I was like, oh, and it wasn't like, yay, I lost 3 pounds. Which could be, yes, I could celebrate that, which, yes, I will celebrate. Yay, I'm down 3 pounds, but not because of the number on the scale. I'm not celebrating 3 pounds, 3 pounds of tissue off my body. I'm not celebrating that part of it. I'm not saying, oh, I'm so much better now that I've lost 3 pounds. It's just like, oh, I'm celebrating this process is working. And as it has been working for the last 20 pounds, like the process is working. This is great. Look at me sticking to it. Um, Not beating myself up and saying, this isn't working, throwing in the towel. I'm just going to go eat half a pizza or a whole pizza. Makes me think I haven't had pizza in a while. Pizza was my go-to. It was probably 3 times a week, pizza. And I haven't felt deprived about that at all. So, honestly, you guys, you can just relax the weight off. I think I said this maybe a couple weeks ago that I'm going to develop a course called Relax the Weight Off, which is what I do in my course. But today I wanted to talk to you about how I approach weight loss, how I approach overeating and binging and that kind of thing. Um, and how it's working beautiful miracles in my life. And not just on the scale and not just in the size of clothes I'm wearing or the inches on the measurements, right? the things it's doing in here and in here. Right? So I tell my clients, create your future self at your ideal weight, eating the things you want to eat, living life the way you want to live life. And how are you going to feel when you reach that? How are you going to feel when you reach your weight loss goal? Okay. The number one word I hear is confident. I'm going to feel confident. I'm going to feel um, some form of empowered, right? Like food does not control me, right? I'm in charge. I'm in charge of what I eat without restriction, without a fight every time. And what I share is you need to feel that way now in order to lose the weight, in order to become that future version of yourself. You need, and whether if weight loss is your goal or whether there's another goal that you're trying to reach, any goal, you have to feel the way you think you're going to feel when you reach the goal. You have to feel that way now. You have to think the thoughts you think you'll be thinking in the future when you reach that goal. Okay. So if your goal is losing weight and you have a specific weight, and I always say be specific, what's the number that you want to see on the scale? If weight loss is your goal, maybe your goal is just to be more conscious about your planning, right? I want to plan my food and I want to use my planner every day. I offer a planner to my clients as well. It's a custom planner with journaling and tracking and things like that. And so you have to feel those feelings now. You have to feel confident now, right? You have to feel like, oh yeah, this is working now. Because what happens is we create these feelings, because remember, our thoughts are what create our feelings, not the number on the scale, not the size of our clothes, not whether or not we've reached our goal. That's just a neutral fact. That's a circumstance. Okay. Goes in the C line, the number on the scale, our goal, right? That goes in the C line. And then we have thoughts, which create our feelings. So in order to become that version of yourself that you're striving for, reaching that goal, you have to be thinking the thoughts and feeling the feelings that you think you're going to think and feel when you're there. So if you think losing weight, I'm going to feel confident and I'm going to be thinking, I'm a woman. I'm a person who is not controlled by food. I'm a person who eats whatever she wants, whenever she wants, because she chooses to. And I'm confident in that. Because the minute you start thinking like, oh, I can't have that food, or I really want that food and I can't have it, you create feelings of restriction in your body. You create feelings of deprivation. And here's the thing. Yes, you can lose weight feeling restricted and deprived, but how many times have you done that? Have you gone on a diet that says you can't have this, 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 and this, and that? Right? And then you punish yourself on the way down the scale. You punish yourself either with strenuous exercise that you think the only reason you're doing it is because you want to punish your body, right? Exercise is great, but for weight loss, and if you're doing it to punish yourself, it's not so great. It's not the best way, right? And when you just beat yourself up and you feel terrible the whole way down the scale, when you get there to the goal, you think life is going to be rainbows and daisies, and it's just not. You're still feeling terrible. You're busy judging yourself. Your brain's going to find something else to complain about you, something else to criticize about you. And then you're just going to gain it back. Like how many of us have done that, right? Oh, I lost my weight. Now my life is going to be great. And then it's not great. And then you go back to comforting yourself with food. without even realizing it in a blink of an eye. How many people gained like what do they call it? Like the COVID 15 instead of the freshman 15? I don't know. Um, yeah. So all that is unnecessary, beating yourself up, and it's not going to help you create that future version of yourself that you truly want. So, let's see. Okay, so overeating and overweight are simply symptoms. They are symptoms of an underlying problem of either overhunger or overdesire. Okay, so overhunger is when our body thinks it's hungrier than it really is. It thinks it needs more fuel than it really does. And the way we get that way is by getting our hormones all out of whack. Okay. Um, so for the past decades, the diet industry, the patriarchy has told us this is how you lose weight, because you have to lose weight, right? You have to lose weight because, you're just too fat and your body's gross and terrible. That's what we tell ourselves. That's the message we get from outside influences, right? And then we think it's the truth, right? We think we just look terrible and we have to lose weight. I better lose weight because I'm getting too fat. Can't fit in my jeans. We talk so mean to ourselves, right? So we were never taught to. So wait, let me back up here. So there's overhunger, and that's when our hormones are just so out of whack. And we feel out of control sometimes. We're just like eating against our will, which is not really the truth. But when we're binge eating, like we think we're out of control. So here's the thing. There's three main hormones when it comes to weight loss and what puts us into overhunger. And insulin, when there's too much insulin in the blood, it blocks your body from oh my gosh, I'm getting this like all mixed up in my head now. I know it in my head. I'm getting mixed up telling you. When there's too much insulin in your body cannot access your fat stores to use the fuel that you're storing as fat to burn. Okay. It just burns the fuel that's in your bloodstream after you eat. Okay. The increased insulin levels. And then leptin is the hormone that tells us when we're full. Okay. And leptin is blocked by an excess of insulin. So your body doesn't even know that it's full. And then there's ghrelin, which is the hormone that lets us know when we're hungry and when we're no longer hungry. Okay. And ghrelin is really affected by these highly concentrated foods that we eat, especially if you're on the standard American diet. You're eating these concentrated foods that give you those dopamine hits, right? And then you don't realize that you are full. Okay. So there's physical hunger, of course, and you have to pause and ask yourself, am I truly hungry? Or am I emotionally hungry? Right. So physical hunger is a sensation, and you kind of feel that in gradual waves, right? Just kind of comes, you kind of notice, oh, I kind of feel a little bit hungry, right? So with my coaching, I help you get your hormone levels back in sync so that your ghrelin can work properly, that your leptin can work properly. And one way I do that is intermittent fasting. Okay. So think of it like this. If you're like intermittent fasting sounds terrible, the way I do it is, first of all, overnight, you're not eating overnight, right? You're not. Okay. I encourage you to extend those fasting periods. So personally for me, I eat between around 12 and 1, sometimes like 11 to 1. Got a little window there, depending on my client load for the day, and I'll know that ahead of time. And so I eat between those hours, and I'm usually done eating. My last meal is around between 5 and 7. Okay. And so that's my eating window. And in that window, I only eat 2 meals a day. I don't eat snacks. Um, it is not it does not feel like a restriction for me. It's just the way I eat. I eat until I'm satisfied at my first meal, and then I'm not even hungry again. I don't even think about it usually till about 4 or 5 hours later, at least. And that is how my body has learned that, oh, this feels amazing, right? So getting my hormone levels in whack, out of whack, getting them when they were out of whack, getting them back in whack. I don't think that that's the term, but I like that. Whacking them back into place has allowed me to become this person who is not controlled by food. I've learned to control my urges, and I don't mean control, I mean allow. I've learned to allow urges into my body without reacting or resisting, right? That resistance. Okay. So when you have a hormone imbalance and it creates these cravings and then you have withdrawal, right? Your body knows exactly what foods it needs. It truly does. And we've turned our bodies into like sugar burners rather than fat burners. And what I mean by that is keeping our insulin levels high constantly. Our body just uses that food we just ate as fuel, right? It uses the food we're eating as fuel. It does not have access to the fat stores for us to become fat adapted. Okay. So here's the thing. People say, well, it's so hard because to go on a diet. It's hard to go on a diet, right? Because I'm restricted. And I love this argument. It's hard not to binge because we have to eat. Like, yes, your body needs fuel. It doesn't need a whole sleeve of Oreos. Oreos were one of my go-tos. Your body needs a mix of vegetables. Get your veggies, people. Fat, some kind of protein. In my case, I'm vegetarian, almost vegan. I'm at the 90 some percent. So some kind of protein, right? And then let's see. So vegetables, fat, and you need water, right? So you need the water. So here are some benefits of intermittent fasting. Okay. It gives your body a break from that insulin. That I know for a while, one of the diets I was on was, and I don't remember if it was called anything. I think it was Body for Life, was 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. Right. And that's what everyone was doing. Well, you got to keep your metabolism going. Right. So it was 3 meals a day and 2 snacks, or grazing throughout the day. Right. That just keeps your insulin levels high. Right. So when you intermittent fast, it gives you a break from those insulin levels. So it allows you to reset your hunger, right? And it allows for your body to go in and utilize those fat stores for fuel and burn those. It creates mental discipline for coping with urges, because those urges will come up, and that's when all the emotions come in. That's where a lot of my work is. Okay. It teaches your body to be fat adapted and not rely on the fat stores for fuel. Okay. I'm sorry, and to rely. um, Helps with cellular repair, intermittent fasting. And by extending that time, from bedtime, and then in the morning, like I don't eat breakfast. You've probably been taught breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Maybe it's not. Have you tried intermittent fasting? I try to eat breakfast and no, it feels terrible for me, right? You're not going to feel deprived or hungry if you're fat adapted, which is where my body is now, which means it's used to going into those fat stores. So that is over hunger. Okay. It has to do with your hormone levels. We've thrown them out of whack. We got to put them back in whack. And cutting out, excuse me, what is my deal? I'm coughing your ear. So cutting out sugar and flour, or at least reducing it to a great extent, is going to help you with that. Now, when I'm working one-on-one with clients, I work with where they're at, right? Some of my clients still want to eat certain foods that have flour and maybe a little sugar. I mean, I just highly recommend that you give it up. I don't force you. Like, here's the thing, I'm on the plan we work on. You get to decide your own protocol. And we work on getting the hormones balanced. And then, so you can access your natural hunger scale, right? And then the coaching comes in with dealing with all those thoughts that come up and all those feelings and all the desires and all the urges and the cravings, right? Those are just feelings in our body created by thoughts. So that's where we work together. Kind of running a little bit late. I just wanted to talk about that piece of it with the hormones today for sure. I've got a tickle in my throat. Okay. So diet mentality, deprivation, all those things. I'm offering to you to throw out all the diet mentality that we've gained over the years, right? All the different diets you've been on, all the different foods that are restricted from you. And what causes desire and that over desire is that thought, I'm deprived. I can't have that. I'm not allowed to eat that. That's not on my plan. And then you're like, why can't I lose weight? Why do other people get to eat that and I don't? And then you kind of spiral into that self-pity, like temper tantrum. And so I teach you how you can retrain your brain to think different thoughts and allow those urges, which the more you learn to allow the urges, the less and less they come. They're going to come strong for a bit, but then over time, when you get really adept at that and just allowing them to be present without reacting and without resisting, what you resist persists and gets stronger. So the more you allow those urges in, the less and less they're going to come. And then you're going to be that person one day who can have a table full of all your favorite foods, go to a party or something, table full of all your favorite foods in front of you. And you'd be like, oh, well, I'm having a conversation. And you're not even thinking about the food unless you're hungry. Yeah. Like not even having an urge for whatever it is. Like for me, so some of my foods that I was just like, no, I gotta eat those foods, like not just one piece, but the whole pizza. Pizza has always been my favorite. And when I tell myself that too, like I can't control myself around pizza. And then I feel powerless, right? And then the pizza's there and I'm just going to eat it. And that just perpetuates that cycle. Um, Now my kids can order a pizza and this happened pretty quick in the last few months too. Um, my kids can order a pizza and I can say, "Oh no, thanks. I won't have any." Or, "Yeah, I think I'll have a piece of your pizza." And I won't even order my own. And then it comes and then I'll have one piece. I'll be like, "That was good." And I'm done. Right? It's such an empowering feeling to go from being someone who goes out to dinner and finishes the food. Like when I was out to dinner with my husband, maybe he's got fries left, right? And I was always like, like I was always sitting there like, oh, I want to eat that fry. And then like pick off his plate. Even my girlfriends, they're like, "You're gonna eat that?" And I would eat off their plates. Like, oh my God. So funny. Like, I'm not judging myself, but it is funny to think about like the times that I was going out to eat. And I still I have gone out, but like the times when I would go out and be like, well, we gotta get appetizers. Where's we do appetizers because I want to try them. Like I've never eaten cheese sticks before. Fried mozzarella sticks. We gotta get some of those. They're so good here. Oh my God, they're cheese sticks. Like now I'm like, no, I don't need an appetizer. And if I do go out to dinner with like my husband, a lot of times we'll just split something or I won't even finish it. Like, I don't know if you ever get those thoughts like, well, I paid for it. I got to eat it. No, you don't. Right. Someone, this was a great analogy someone did. When you go for a haircut, you pay the same amount whether you get an inch cut off or 3 inches, right? So you don't go to get your hair cut and get an inch and go, no, you need to do 3 inches so I can get my money's worth. No. If that's your thing, like, well, I paid for this meal, I have to eat it. Like, just say, I spend this amount when I go to the restaurant, whether I eat this much or this much or this much, right? I only eat till I'm satisfied. I don't overeat and I only start when I'm hungry. And you can't even access that hunger scale until you get your hormones back in sync. So, just a few tips today. Cutting out the sugar and flour is not mandatory, but I will tell you it is incredibly helpful. So, for me, I know those times that I do maybe have pizza for dinner. Um, Trying to think, that's probably the only thing I have usually that has a lot of flour in it. So the times that I have pizza for dinner, the next morning, I'm like, where's the leftover pizza? I gotta eat it. It's like, like my body needs that food. And or sugar, right? And you don't tell yourself like, I can't have that candy. You be like, oh, I'm gonna have one piece of candy. And that tastes great, right? You can become that person who's just like, oh, I'll just have like a little piece of chocolate. That's all. And not, oh, I can't have that, right? And you can decide like my body feels better when I eat less sugar and less flour. But eliminating that or drastically cutting it out depending on where you're at, like where your current, see, that's where I meet my clients is that what is your current diet? Let's take a look at that and let's start making small steps, right? 1% level up. That's what I work on with my clients a lot. Oh, hey Amanda. Yes, right. Haircuts. I can't remember where I saw that. It was some coach who wrote about that, or I don't know, something talked about it. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that. Megan, my friend Megan, who's my stylist, if you're watching, I'm gonna think about that. You could maybe talk to your clients about that, if who are like me and who are like, I got to get my money's worth when I go out to eat. Um, anyway, so I'm going over. I try to keep these just to a half hour, um, sometimes less. But if you're rewatching this on the replay, if you have any questions, I did a stop overeating masterclass, which I can email to you if you haven't seen it. It goes into a little bit more detail that I don't fumble around about the hormones. And it talks a little bit more about that and about the over hunger and over desire. And over desire is just perpetuated by our thoughts. We create those urges and desires, which are feelings in our body, right? And if you're willing to feel any emotion, there's nothing you're unwilling to do, right? If you're willing to feel hunger, hunger's not a problem, right? I mean, for us, if you're watching this, let's just accept the fact that hunger is not necessarily a problem for us, right? We're not going to die if we're hungry. And that feeling of hangriness that we get often comes from a lot of sugar and flour in our diet, right? It spikes us. We're so hungry. Um, also I want to say like eating on the clock. Like a lot of us, and me included, like I know that I eat sometimes between 11 and 1 and 5 and 7ish, right? That's just kind of where I eat. But a lot of us are like, okay, I eat breakfast 8 a.m., noon, 5 p.m. And I have a snack at 3 and a snack at 10 or whatever. And you're not hungry if you ask yourself or someone says to you, are you hungry? And you say, oh, I don't know. What time is it? Like if you think about it, how ridiculous is that? Like when you're like, are you hungry? No, what time is it? Our bodies, our stomachs, our hunger has nothing to do with the number on the clock. Like there's no correlation, but we've made it this thing. I remember my mom used to do that all the time. And I know I've done it. It just made me think of that. And so yeah, if you're trying to decide if you're hungry and you need to know what time it is before you decide if you're really hungry, you're probably not. So anyway, okay. Thanks for popping in on my live, Amanda. I hope you have your hot tea. Oh, I'm gonna go get some hot tea. I don't know if you missed the beginning. I got my COVID shot, my vaccine today. So now I'm like, I gotta go drink more water because I heard staying hydrated is a good thing to do because I don't want to feel yucky. And yesterday I had a photo shoot with my amazing photographer, Megan Rogers. I went to her boudoir studio. No, I didn't do boudoir photos, but I did do one fun, flirty photo in the middle of my new business branding photos. Um, so it was so fun. I didn't ask her when I would get them. I'm not going to rush her. We'll see. I think she's going on vacation. I don't know. But anyway, it was really fun. It was really fun. Amanda, I'll have to share with you the outfits that I chose. I hope they're good. Oh, and that was the thing yesterday too. Like I wasn't hungry and I didn't even think about food. And I jumped in the car and I drove to Ferndale, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from my house where her studio is. And wasn't even thinking, like no thought of food at all. And then we're doing the photo shoot. And then I'm like, let's do something fun. And she was like, twirl around. So I was twirling around and I would only twirl like twice. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm dizzy. So I think I did get a little hungry then, but I was fine. I didn't get that hangry feeling. I just got hungry and I'm like, okay, well, when I get home, I'm going to eat. I got home and I ate something healthy and on plan and felt really good. Was not a problem. So, okay. All right. I'm going to go. I'm just starting to ramble now. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for being here and designing your ideal lives with me. I'll see you later. Bye bye.